South Africa hasn't been faring well on the economic front. To add to the strain was the level 5 nationwide lockdown, which brought most economic activity to a standstill. In April, the rand hit a record low against the dollar. But now that economic activity, to some extent, has resumed, will the rand rebound? I'm joined from Pretoria by Bianca Botha's Corporate Treasury Management from Peregrine Treasury Solutions to talk about this. Very good morning to you. What's the rand going to do?
Good morning to you and the viewers, Jane. Currently, the rand is not really responding to any local factors. So we tend to believe that the rand is at these weak levels because we have been in lockdown, and that is not really the case. The rand is trading at these levels because of the global phenomena of lockdown and the effect that will have on the global economy as a whole. Unfortunately, when the global economy comes under pressure, we see a risk-off environment, which in essence means that investors are starting to sell off emerging market assets, which are classified as more risky, and piling into safe haven assets, usually the dollar and then obviously gold as well. With the lockdown being lifted in South Africa, it's definitely good news for the South African economy and South Africans on the ground who's trying to earn a living. But when we start looking at the rand recovery, we really need to be focusing on the global recovery and how quickly global economies are coming out of lockdown.
So what do you think it needs in order to rebound?
So over the past couple of days, we've actually seen it pull back quite significantly. Yesterday, it went all the way below 1820, which are levels we last saw about 2 weeks ago. And basically, this is driven by the fact that risk appetite is being reignited because of optimism in the market. So a lot of people are focusing on the fact that major economies such as the US are starting to slowly come out of lockdown. Trade activity globally is starting to tick up. And then obviously keeping a very close eye on any news relating to a vaccine. The moment that we can start stimulating economic growth locally or globally again, and then get jobs going in South Africa, we can see some momentum in the rand. And then obviously some technicals play a role in terms of being oversold or undersold. But for the time being, it's driven by sentiment.
And what about the all-important job numbers in the US?
The job numbers have been horrific. The one thing that we can bear in mind when it comes to the US economy is that they have a very dynamic job market. Prior to the virus, we saw them being at 3% unemployment, and the virus is likely to push them closer to about 10% unemployment. These are the biggest job losses since the Great Depression, but there is quite a bit of confidence that the moment the US economy starts to reopen, that a lot of those jobs will be recovered. I think the biggest concern at the moment is how quickly are we lifting those lockdowns, and if there is a resurgence in the virus infections, if we will actually then go back into lockdown or just continue as normal.
And what sort of impact is this having on what little trade there is happening in and out of our country?
It's having a significant impact. The first couple of weeks of lockdown, while being under level 5, we actually saw most of our ports being closed. And now that the ports have been open, there is a bit more activity taking place. But what we need to remember is that global supply chain has been disrupted. So for clients importing and exporting, it has actually become a bit of a logistical problem to get goods coming through the borders. But I'm sure, as lockdown recovers globally, we will actually see free movement of goods again. It's just going to take a bit of time to pick up the momentum we had pre-COVID.
And thank you for your time, Bianca Botha. Thank you.